Alright y'all, welcome back to the channel and do some more rifle testing, and today we've got another very interesting combination to try out. I've got some decent hopes for this combo. I know this particular rifle likes a very similar or maybe even the same ammunition as what we've got today, but who knows? There could be slight differences here, so I'm definitely looking forward to trying it and seeing what this combo might actually give us. But first up, for the rifle I've got, I brought out an old Marlin 336. This one's chambered in 30-30. It's got a 20-inch barrel on it and an old Bushnell Sport View 3 to 9x32 on top with the see-through rings. A lot of people don't like these rings and aren't big fans of the 30-year-old Walmart scopes essentially, but this is the way this rifle's been set up for probably most, if not all, of its life. This is the way it was when I got it. I don't plan on changing it anytime soon because it does the job just fine for a 100-yard deer gun, and it can actually shoot rather impressively with this combo as well. So not everybody's favorite flavor here, but it will work, that's for sure. This one I believe is an 82 or 83 model. It's right before they went to the crossbolt safety, so it is a real JM stamp gun and stuff like that. So nice setup here for a deer rifle, but we'll see what it does with today's ammo. But as for today's ammo, I brought out some of the Herter's 30-30 loads. These ones are a 150 grain soft point at 2390 feet per second. But what's interesting here is, if you don't know, Herter's is the in-house brand name for Bass Pro and Cabela's. However, it's all loaded by Winchester. This is essentially the same thing as a white box Winchester Super X, or I guess now they might even be yellow box, or maybe that was the anniversary box or something for them. But either way, this is essentially a Super X load in a Herter's box. And I don't even know if you'll be able to read that on the head stamp there, maybe in the glare, but it says 30-30 Win and then Winchester right on the actual head stamp of the case. So these are literally just a Winchester loading. But I know from previous experience that this rifle tends to really like 150 grain Super X loadings. In theory, these are the same thing, so I'm curious to see if there's anything different as far as accuracy goes with these Herter's loads. They tend to be $1 or $2 cheaper, and you tend to find them on sale a little more often as well, so we'll see what they're able to do. As for our test today, everything is set up the same as usual. I've got the target at 100 yards. We're going to shoot 3 groups, all of which will be through the chronograph, and I will let the rifle cool down for at least several minutes between each group. This rifle has seemed to be a little bit particular about barrel heat. It's not overly hot out here today, but it kind of is what it is unless I want to let the rifle cool down for 2 hours or something, but we ain't got time for that around here. So 5, 6, 7 minutes between each group, and we'll see what it does. So let's get you guys a view of that target. We'll shoot our groups and see how it likes the Herter's 150 grainers. Alright, so let's take a quick look at our chrono numbers before we go look at our target. Boss claim is 2390, however, we were not seeing that. We do have a 20-inch barrel on that Marlin, and chances are factory probably tested these through a 22 or 24-inch to get that claim, and this is nothing unusual for when I shoot that rifle either. But our high was 2309, the low was 2288. That gave us an average of 2296. So what is that, 94 feet per second below our boss claim? And that's right about right. Usually 100 feet per second below box is what we see from that particular rifle. But we had an extreme spread of 21 and a standard deviation of 6. So they were pretty consistent with velocities. So at an average of 2296, here's your muzzle energy for 150 grainer from a 30-30. That's perfectly fine for your deer hunt scenarios and stuff. Nothing to be concerned with there. So how accurate were they? Let's go look at our target. Okay, so here is our target, and right off the bat, I don't think this rifle shot as good with these Herter's loadings as it has done with the Winchester Super X loads. I don't know if I've ever filmed those Super X through that rifle, but I still think those are its preferred loading, which is pretty interesting. Maybe Herter's getting the factory seconds or something like that from Winchester for their loadings. I don't really know, but we'll start off with our first group of the day. Right up here, these top three. Ignore this one bullet right here. We'll talk about that here in a minute, but these top three, that's probably our best group of the day, and that is plenty good enough. I think it's probably going to be right about an inch, so nothing too terrible to see there. And yeah, it's 1.18 inches, so just a tad over an inch. That's very respectable for an old lever gun with a very basic optic setup and rings that a lot of people don't like. I have definitely seen better out of it, but I wouldn't hesitate to hunt with that if those were the groups I was getting. So now we'll move to our second group, which is these bottom three. And yes, like I said, I did let the rifle cool down for at least 5 minutes, if not more like 7 or 8 between each of these groups. But you can clearly see that we did open it up quite a bit going from our first to our second group, and it is now a 2.28 inch spread. Still plenty good enough to take on a deer hunt with it, but like I mentioned earlier in the video, that rifle does get a little bit particular with any sort of barrel heat. The barrel was never hot during this test, but obviously after a couple shots, it does get a couple degrees warmer to the touch than what it was cold bore. I never had any mirage or anything like that coming off the barrel, so it never got that hot. But now we'll move to our third group down here in the bottom. Our first shot of that third group was this guy way up here. So after seeing that, I figured, well, could have been me, but I decided to just do a 3-shot group down here, and we're right back to probably a little more open than our first group, but still pretty average, I would say, for this performance. And we're back to 1.50 for that third group. So overall, it seems like best case scenario, we're getting a hair over an inch or so, and that's plenty respectable enough. Have we seen better from it? Yep, we sure have. We just recently tested some 170 grain Remington core locks, and they definitely shot a better first group as well. So is this a bad performance? No, it's absolutely minute of deer, and I wouldn't hesitate to hunt with it. But yet again, still I think that rifle has its particular favorite ammunitions, and it seems like the Herters, even though they are just a Super X in a different box, might be Winchester factory seconds or something like that, and they just shoot a tad bit more open. Could even come down to different lot numbers and stuff like that between them and the Super X. Different batches having slightly different manufacturing tolerances. Either way, pretty average overall for that rifle in particular, but it would definitely do the job if you needed it to, that's for sure. Alright y'all, well, what did you think about that performance right there? I think we pretty well covered it. It's okay. It's nothing over the top special necessarily. I know I've seen better out of that particular rifle than what we got there, but if we're averaging a little bit over an inch, I mean, for a 40-year-old lever gun with a Walmart scope and see-through rings and one of the cheapest soft points you can go buy off the big box store shelf, I think it did perfectly fine, all things considered. Could it maybe do a little better with those? If I let the barrel cool down for an hour between each group or something, maybe. If I swapped to regular rings, maybe. I don't know. I don't have any plans on changing that rifle. It does the job fine, and it's capable of better than that as well. So I don't know. I'd say it did pretty average overall. It would simply work, and for a lever gun like that, that's plenty good enough. But leave all your thoughts down below. Is that about what you expected to see? Were you a little surprised one way or the other? Have you tested any of these 150 grain Herters 30-30 loads? And if so, what kind of results have you seen? Is that a combo you would hunt with? Or would you prefer to see the groups a little tighter than that? And maybe what other ammo do you want to see me run through that old 336? Let me know all that down below. But with that being said, I've got some more testing to get done for you guys, so I'm going to get back to it. As always, we have the channel Instagram as well as the mailbox where you can send stuff if you'd like. All that information will be in the description if you're interested in it. But I'm going to get back to it, so I'll see y'all in the next one.